Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to War Thunder. Now, as you probably know, patch 1.47 has been released, and with it comes many lovely things. First of all, we'll take a look at the new vehicles, starting with the United States. Ground forces, we get... This wasn't here last time. I logged into this game like 20 minutes ago to do this exact thing. The audio was crap, so I'm doing it again now. This wasn't it last time, what the hell? Huh. Okay, so I guess there's 3 new American ground vehicles. We'll start off with the Super Pershing, the M26E1. This is essentially a Super Pershing, I think, which has the long-barreled 90mm gun. You also get a coaxial 7.62mm, so 30 cal. This thing doesn't work. It's very expensive. It costs 7,000 gold, but I think it's a pretty, well, it has the potential to be a pretty good tank. This gun was very good. I think there was an incident where they tested it on a dead Jagdpanzer IV from the front, and the shot went all the way through the fighting compartment, through the engine block, and out the back, and then buried itself in the ground 3 miles away. So yeah, pretty good gun. Doesn't have the boilerplates though, that wasn't standard, so naturally they won't add it to this particular tank, unlike in World of Tanks. Yeah. Although that being said, this tank itself wasn't standard, they didn't adopt it for some reason. So yeah, this thing, which was literally added just now, 5 minutes ago, it has a picture of a tiger on it, which is nice. No other visible differences. Armour, it's the same as most Pershings, I believe. X-ray. I wonder if the information says anything. Oh. New engine. Alright, doesn't seem as though... So yeah, I think the only thing different about this thing is it has a picture of a tiger on it. So if that's what floats your boat, then this tank is for you. Even though it costs 6,000 gold, despite the fact... Oh wait, it's a Patton. It's not a Pershing. Stupid! And we also get the M42 Duster, which was used in Korea and Vietnam, I think. It was used in Vietnam, I know that. Unless it wasn't, in which case I'm an idiot. No armour, but you don't need armour, it's an SPA-JGG. And lots of explosive ammunition. Another new feature that's been added is whether or not the ammunition racks or fuel tanks will explode will depend on what kind of ammunition you're firing. For example, if you're firing armour-piercing composite rigid ammunition, it won't set anything on fire, it won't blow anything up. But if you're firing heat ammunition, it's more likely to blow stuff up. Oh, those guns look interesting. They're like plasma guns or something. Rail guns. Lovely. So yeah, something to watch out for if you're flying your Stuka. Germany, no, we'll come back to Germany, because they've got something very exciting indeed. Army. Russia gets a new premium T-126 light tank, which has a ridiculous amount of armour, as can be expected. It's basically a premium T-50, but with even more armour. So yeah, 55mm, sloped back at 53 degrees, giving you a effective thickness of 87.3mm at TF 2.7. So shoot at the front of the turret. Don't bother shooting at the hull, unless you're shooting here. So yeah, the turret, shoot the turret, shoot the turret. 4 people crammed in there. Lovely jubbly. Oh! That engine looks very similar to the thing they put in the KV-1, but it's probably not the same. So yeah, new rocket bunker for the Russians. And a new T-28E, which is just like the standard T-28, but with a teeny tiny bit more armour. As you can see, it's now a whopping 30mm extra along with all these plates here. I mean, yeah, it did need more armour, but this isn't going to cut it, is it? 50mm. Oh, that's not bad actually. 50mm. Tier 2.7. Huh. My early skepticism has all but dissolved. $20, $30, $40, $50. Yeah. So 50mm of armour now on this thing. That's pretty good, if I do say so myself. Crew, nothing changed there. But why would it? And the Russians also get a new T-54 for you to do T-54 stuff with. You know, something that the German Tier 5 players will look avidly forward to, I'm sure. No, nothing really different. All the T-54s get a new ammo type, something with even more penetration. I'm sure all us German players will be delighted to find that out. And also the IS-4 and IS-3 get a new ammunition type. Let's see if we can find it. I think it's one of these. Yeah, it's probably one of these. Anyway, new ammunition type. And finally, the Germans get a new bunch of tanks. They get the Gepard, which is essentially a Panzer 38T with a 20mm flak gun on the back. It's the same gun that's mounted on the Flak Panzer 1, except it's in a excuse me, Panzer 38T chassis. No armour, but why would you have armour? You don't need armour. And only 2 crew, which is unfortunate, because if one of them gets hit, you're dead. You're knackered. Your tank is gone. And a weedy little engine there, with the radiator spewing fumes into this guy's face. Lovely. The Germans also get a new Marder, the Marder 3H, with a 75mm Pak 40. It's similar, well, pretty much the same gun as you get in the Panzer 4H, or in fact any Panzer 4 with this gun, and indeed the latest Stugs. No armour, but why would you have armour? It's a Marder. Marders don't have armour. Although, you know, 50mm, that's not bad for Tier 3. Although everyone's going to shoot at this massive superstructure, which of course has no armour whatsoever. Crew of 4, big gun breech, lots of ammo scattered everywhere, and it's a teeny tiny tank. Lovely. The Germans also get this majestic beast here, a brand new Tiger, which is the late model Tiger. If you play Men of War Assault Squad 2, you'll know this as the veteran Tiger. It has Zimmerit applied to it for some reason, and new wheels which are the same as that mounted on the Tiger 2. I think this thing was built at the same time as the early Tiger 2s. And it also has this marvellous MG38 on the roof of the turret, so you can scare off all those IL-2s and B-29s and stuff. Marvellous. Armour is pretty much the same, although I think the turret armour is a little bit better. And inside, yeah, it's the same. You got ammunition everywhere. Although, your ammunition is less likely to explode now, due to the new change in all that stuff. And finally, proof that the Germans can have a sense of humour. The Maus. The heaviest and the largest closed armoured fighting vehicle ever built. Weighing 188 tons, with 200mm of armour sloped back at 55 degrees on the front of the hull, and 220mm of armour on the front of the turret. If you want to shoot this thing at the front and you've got an M103, shoot here. If not, run for the hills. because this thing is unlikely to catch you. It can only go a blinding top speed of 13 miles per hour. That's 16 kilometers an hour or thereabouts, if you metric. Side armor, well, it's flat, even though it's 180 millimeters. Pretty much everything that you'll encounter will be able to hit this thing from the side, although good luck trying to hit one of the crew, because they're teeny tiny. Fuel tanks right here, radiators. Look at that massive engine. Isn't that a big engine? No, it's not. How much horsepower does this thing have? 1200 horsepower. That's not great. But this is the biggest engine the Germans could come up with to power this thing. And you've got the electric transmission from the Porsche Tiger. This thing was actually made by Porsche, the same company that went on to make things such as the 911 Turbo and the Cayenne. Although this thing isn't much bigger than a Cayenne. Now, aircraft! The United States get a very exciting new aircraft in the form of this thing. The very, very pretty Boeing B-29 Super Fortress. The aircraft famous for dropping the atomic bombs on Japan. Luckily though, in-game, we won't be dropping nukes. Although, who knows what will happen in the April Fool's Day event. Just saying. Yeah, 4 turrets plus a tail turret, each with 250 caliber machine guns. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of armor. This will stop 30mm cannon rounds, I'm sure. It probably will actually, because they explode on contact, don't they? And inside, lots of fuel tanks, lots of engines, lots of machine guns. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Very pretty aircraft, if I do say so myself. It's also the biggest aircraft in the game currently. You can zoom out your camera further than ever before, and still its wings go off the edge of the screen. Although that might just be my screen resolution. And of course the Americans get a new Canberra, except this is a homegrown Canberra, in that it was pretty much made in America. They updated a lot, adding a new bubble canopy with 2 crew, pilot and guy who's along for the ride. Little tiny bit of armor here, no armor anywhere else, but who would shoot at this thing? Fuel tanks, lots of engines, and 8 50 caliber machine guns, 8 hardpoints for, I think, 16 big rockets, HVAR rockets, and a funny bomb bay that rotates. And because it takes time for the bomb bay to rotate open in order to drop the bombs, they actually added the bomb site is slightly ahead of where the bombs... no, of where it would be if the bombs dropped normally from a normal plane, because it takes into account the time to open the bomb bay. Which is interesting. Germans get a new Bf-109, which is very nice. I do like the Bf-109s. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. G14. It's a bit heavier than the G6 or G10, and it has one 20mm cannon, 2 13mm machine guns. Isn't that lovely? Armour is the same as most Bf-109s, and the X-ray is the same as well. This is, I think this is a late war plane that was developed to cut production costs or something like that, which is why it's not quite as good as earlier Bf-109Gs, even though it's a later plane. And of course the Germans get the mighty FW-200 Condor, which is a very pretty aircraft indeed. Very pretty, if it'll just load. There it is. Maritime patrol bomber. It was used in the same role as the Sunderland was for the British, I do believe. I think that's the symbol of maritime patrol, something like that. Very pretty. Very pretty indeed. No armour, but who needs armour? Lots and lots of fuel tanks, because this thing was designed to fly for hours and hours over the North Atlantic. In fact, it was developed from an airliner that was designed to fly over the Atlantic to the United States. But then the war came and they turned it into a bomber. 4 teeny tiny little weedy machine guns to defend it, which is probably why it's only battle rating 2.7 for a 4-engine bomber. That's pretty good, isn't it? And a bomb load of maths, 3,000 kilograms. Big bombs for dropping on ships and bombing points. So don't go bombing, you know, pillboxes, stuff like that. Leave that for the HE-111s. Another thing you should know about this plane is historically it tended to break its back a lot upon landing. I don't think they've modelled that in game though, which is lucky, or if not entirely historically accurate. No more German aircraft, but one more thing to note is the Ju-87D5 gets a bugger, wrong button. Gets 2 new gun pods. Two with 6 7.92mm machine guns in each pod, so that's 12 in total, and 2 with 2 20mm cannons in each, so that's 4 in total. So that's pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Isn't it indeed? Yes, very indeed, yeah. Shut up. Shut up! Russians get a new IL-2, which I'm sure all the German tank drivers are very excited about. Although that being said, this is an earlier one. It's not quite as powerful as the later IL-2s. It only has 2 20mm machine guns. Cannon, as well as 2 Shkas machine guns. And it also cannot carry as many... well, the rockets it can carry are smaller than the ones you typically get on the tank-busting IL-2s later on in the war, as well as 400 kilogram bombs. So yeah, this thing isn't as effective, but it's still I mean, it's an IL-2. You'll kill tanks with it, and of course, so much armor, it's ridiculous. Look at that. It's like a I don't know, bunker. It's a flying tank. Inside it's much the same story. Any new Russian? Yes, the LA5 FN gets a new visual update. So all you fans of the LA5 FN will know what that's about. I'm not, so I don't really know. I think the only change I can notice is the yellow nose. But it might have already had that, in which case I'm an idiot. I don't think there's any new Russian aircraft. Britain get no new aircraft. They get nothing. They get nothing. Which I think means the next update will be about Britain. Finally, we'll be getting the Sterling. Yeah, but not this update. Now, currently, we get nothing. Japan get 1 new aircraft. It's a premium. It's the J2M4, which, if you want to have any hope in hell in shooting down those B-29s, actually, you could probably use any Japanese light-tier aircraft. This thing has 4 20mm cannons and a teeny tiny bit of armor on the windscreen, which is nice. It'll also set you back a whopping 4,000 gold. It's not that bad for this tier. I don't know. I haven't bought any premium aircraft. I don't think. Have I? No, I haven't. I have won a premium aircraft. I've got the TB3, but I haven't bought any. So what's... let's take something for a test drive and test that crap. Be with you in a moment. Here we are in the mighty Tiger 3. No, what the fuck? Tiger 3? What the hell is that? Panzer 6 Tiger House E or something. Here it is, with anti-aircraft machine gun on top. Lovely, lovely jubbly. Now, as you can probably see at the back, there is heat haze coming from the exhaust, which is nice, isn't it? New visual feature. On that note, people who have got, well, who need to use low-end graphics settings, low graphics settings, they've been better optimized, so you can have better graphics without cost of performance, which is good. Let's see, there's also heat haze when you fire the gun. So, yeah, did you see that? You see the shock wave as well. The shock wave. And also burning tanks, they shimmer in the heat haze. And take a look at this dead T-26. Now you can see, the ground is wibbly wobbly. Okay, I merged through it somehow, that's weird. Look at the wibbly wobblies. Lovely jubbly. Now another new thing that's been added is a very Spin Tires-esque ground depression system thing, whereby your tracks leave big grooves in the ground, which is all very nice. And it also there's like terrain, something where, you know, you go slower if the ground is muddy or grassy or off-road, and if you're on-road you go faster, which actually makes holding the crossroads a viable tactic that you can do. Or something. See, on the roads there's no, or very little, ground squelching. And if we go off the road, if this vehicle just get off the road, come on. The ground is all squelched down. Oh wait, no it's not. Oh yeah, it is. You can see that. See? The ground is squelched down. Another new feature that's been added is some vehicles, such as the Tiger and the Panther, are able to pivot on the spot, which is historically accurate. Look at me pivoting and pirouetting like a majestic, spinny thing. Dreidel. Something like that. Very, very fancy. Which means you can turn your Tiger round in a jiffy. Oh no, T-34 to the left? No problem, I can just spin around in a second. And badoom! What? There's a Sherman behind me? Don't worry, I can pivot round in a second, in a jiffy. Look at me spinning round. Anyway, another difference with this thing, between this thing and the earlier Tiger, is there's no desert filter paraphernalia on the back. So it's more like a proper Tiger. Although I did like that paraphernalia, it made it look nice. And the wheels are, of course, taken from the King Tiger. I think I already said that, didn't I? Yeah, I probably did. Anyway, so you're looking through the vision slit. This will be useful for simulator battle mode, or if you like to be driving a tank like you're actually driving it. Although it is very dark in here. Very scary indeed. Very scary. Which means you can see all your tree ramming up close and personal. Another good thing is that when you're in this view, the gun turns with the vehicle, so you don't have to keep rotating the turret round to follow the direction your vehicle's going in. There we go. Many, many trees murdered. Isn't that splendid? And another thing they've added is binoculars, so you... There we go. Which means you can look at things that are far away without having to look through your gun telescope. Because this is what we used to have to do. Now we can just press whatever you've assigned the button to be and look through your binoculars like a commander. Although that is as much zoom as you get. So, you know, you're driving along in simulator battle mode. Oh, I think I see some movement over there. What is that? Oh, it's nothing. It's a big pile of poo. But over there, there's a KV-2. Shoot it, Commander. And there you are, one KV-2 destroyed, almost. Another thing they've added is you can see what ammo type killed you in the kill cam view. So if you look at the top right-hand corner of the screen, and if everything goes to plan, you should be able to see what kind of shell I am firing. There it is. See, it's brown and stripy, which means it is a armor-piercing high-explosive round. Anyway, I think that's everything covered for ground forces. Let us return to the hangar. And okay, one thing that's been added for some aircraft is cockpit lights and canopy openability. So we'll try that with the Yak 9. It hasn't been added to every aircraft. In fact, it's only been added to a few. But it is good nonetheless. Because it means that you can fly around with your canopy open. And throw flowers at people or something. Or bail out, of course. Oh, there we go. Canopy is open. You'll have to bind keys to do this as well. It won't happen by itself by default. I've got Control... No, Alt... Oh, there we go. Look at it sliding open like a... There we go. And in third person view... Lovely! Also, when you're taking off, it closes by itself, automatically. So, you don't have to worry about it if you can't find how to bind keys. And for cockpit lights... Lovely jubbly. So without further ado, let's take off and see what it's like in the air. I've also added a new sound for when you're in an open-top aircraft. No, stay open. Yeah, you hear that? Like wind rustling through a tree, except it's rustling through your plane. And gear up. Why have I paused it, you bastard? Here we are, flying in the night time. All very cozy like, with your light and your canopy open over the oppressed masses and the moon and the ground targets. Where are they? There they are. So yes, all very nice. They will of course be adding opening cockpits and lights to all of the fighters eventually, but right now they've just started from the beginning with a few. The total list of vehicles you can do this with are in the change logs. Also in this patch, many flight model changes and damage model adjustments, all to make it more realistic and more better. There's hundreds of them though, so I won't read them all out. It's all getting more realistic basically. So, you know, more control stiffening, more breakability. I saw something that said something like you can't shoot the tail off a plane anymore, which is a bit of a shame because it'll make Catalinas basically indestructible, but I suppose you couldn't really just shoot the entire tail section of a plane off just like that anyway. I might be wrong, but How's this thing overheating? How are you overheating, you stupid plane? Ugh. And because we're going so quickly, the canopy takes longer to close. And it opens. Whips back. Mind you don't break your wrist. All very lovely indeed. So yeah, that's pretty much patch 1.47 in a nutshell, and I must say it's all very nice indeed. There's no battle rating changes, there's no changes to, you know, battle rating, but then we'll have to wait for that anyway, won't we? Okay, I forgot to mention there have been lots of new decals added as well, so we'll take a little look at those as well, shan't we? No, wrong button. Starting with digits. There are no new digits. World flags. Gaijin, why do you make us pay for these? They used to be free. We can't even unlock them. This is just outrageous. Neutral countries. The East German tank roundel has been added, so you can put that on your T-54s if you want to. Germans get this new Stug emblem, new heavy tank emblem. Paula, that's some person. This and this again. Russia get to the west for Motherland. This is quite a famous one. They put it on a few T-34-85s at least. And heavy tank brigade emblem. Allies, we get the Polish armoured division. In the mood. I'm not in the mood right now, thank you very much. British Army badge, you can put that on your grant. And 1st Tank Battalion, I have no idea what tank battalion that was. Nothing new here. No new Russian ones, no new Japanese ones. Japan needs more emblems. Although they do get these victory things here. Which is pretty good. Japan gets some victory markers that you don't have to buy a campaign pack for. Turkish Air Force roundel, that's nice. Well, it's more of a squirrel. South Korean Air Force, as opposed to the North Korean one we already had. Rhodesian Air Force roundel. I know someone who will be happy about that. Chinese Air Force roundel, which we already had in the form of, if we go take a look at this plane here. There you see it there. Well, we've now also got it as a decal, which is all pretty good, if I do say so myself. And we also get the Indian Air Force roundel, which is a very nice looking roundel, if I do say so myself. Very nice indeed. The Germans get no more of these shield emblems. Well, but they do get a Croatian and Spanish Nationalist Air Force roundels, as well as this, which is, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's the, well, it's some sort of Spanish emblem for the Spanish Civil War. No new Allied inscriptions, but they do get some new pin-ups, such as this, very nice, that, very nice, this, yeah, alright. Cat, that says Mnoho Stesi, that's Polish, I do believe. It's an RAF squadron at least. Oh, so is this. What's this? That's probably American. Yeah, Naval Air Squadron. Unless that's British. Yes, British. Dilimi. That one is American Air Force bombing. Sorry, Army Air Force. The Americans didn't have an Air Force during World War II. And the Spanish Republican Air Force roundel with purple in the middle, which is very nice. And we got this. Cachisuca's Spanish Civil War is probably a Spanish Republican Air Force pin-up. And this, which is another Spanish one. Which is all very well and good. Very nice. Can't have too many decals, although you can when you have to pay for them. So yeah, that is the proper end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully see you for when I try out some of this crap, and cheerio.